Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to World of Balance. The KV-220. What is the KV-220? Well, it's a Russian rank 3 battle rating 5.7 premium reward heavy tank, and it has an 85mm F30 cannon with 91 rounds of ammunition. And the battle rating of 5.7 is quite amusing because of the armor. This tank has all around 100mm of rather flat armor, although on the front it's a bit more complicated. I'm gonna tank review on this, and while there were some changes on the turret which were not that significant in my opinion, you still can look at this tank review, and while it is not up to the standards anymore, it's still quite informative. What about this 85mm gun? Is it something like outstandingly awesome? Well, practically it's your normal T-34-85 gun with a different name and limited just to the HE shell and the stock shell. And, you know, that's absolutely fine, because 142mm of penetration is, in the overwhelming majority of cases, good enough. And 164 grams is exactly what you need. Furthermore, 15mm of fuse sensitivity is just exactly what you need. So, I just go into this cap circle because I think to myself, I'm a heavy tank. But as you will see throughout the battle, I drive it more or less like a medium tank with ridiculous armor. This is kind of the low tier equivalent to a, let's say, T-54-47. And I'm not exaggerating, the armor on this thing is just... Let's call it very balanced, shall we? Let's just say everything's fine, everything's balanced. Now, how do you get your hands on this tank? It was part of the 2016 summer event, and yes, that Hellcat just did bounce off my side or not penetrate. I expect him to go around the building. As you can see, he does it, aiming third person. Thank you very much. This tank was part of the summer marathon 2016 as the top end reward vehicle, and it's totally worth it. Or it was totally worth it. It's a full premium. It's in the premium branch with a talisman, and yes, I'm reverse angling because I can. And yeah. Say hello to my 85mm gun. And I bounced something from the front. I see it coming around. Seems to be an A6, or it was an M6A1. Sorry about this. And yeah, here's history. Because there was another Russian tank with lots of balance. Now, this tank is a little bit strange for me. Why? Well, it doesn't have so many disadvantages. In fact, it has 6 degrees of gun depression of your normal, 5 degrees gun depression of your regular Soviet vehicle. There are also a lot of vehicles with even worse gun depression, 3 and even 2 degrees. But this one has 6 degrees just because. Furthermore, the reload rate in my expert configuration is 7.9 seconds. That's good enough to one-shot them one by one. And 11.3 degrees of turret rotation speed again for my expert crew. Furthermore, this tank is with 62.7 tons, very heavy, but you do not really feel it because you have an 850 horsepower engine. And then there is the strange thing. This tank is relatively long, so you expect a lot of drag from the tracks while turning. You don't feel it. And this is something that I first encountered in arcade when I test drove this tank, and it was just strange. A lot of tanks with a long chassis have a lot of drag, not this one. And I think this is kind of a bit of imbalance, because you can drive this tank legitimately like a medium tank. As you see right now, I'm just cornering here without any problems, and this is realistic mode. And you know, at 13.55 horsepower to ton ratio, what this is, just lets you always drive near your top speed of 30-40 kilometers an hour. In fact, I always feel kind of limited by this relatively low top speed. On the other hand, it's okay that you know, always go relatively fast, even over rough terrain, as you will see in a moment. About the armor on this tank, at what do we have at 5.7? Well, obviously in the German tech tree there is the Tiger, but the Tiger gets completely outmatched by the KV 220. Why is that? Well, the Tiger has just 80mm of side armor, the upper armor that is, but behind the tracks it's just 60. So the side scraping of the Tiger and the Tiger E is not as effective. Furthermore, the Tiger is much wider. And that means that you can't side scrape so often, because there's always a part of your front armor looking where the enemy still can penetrate and do tremendous amounts of damage. Despite the Tiger tank being so huge, it is still very vulnerable to penetration shots, unlike the KV 220, which can eat shells for days, as you just can see. Now, one thing that the KV 220 does not have is a really strong kind of machine gun. Yes, it has two of them. One is in the Commander's cupola, which is actually modeled because it turns, which is a nice thing, but it does not really kind of make it up for kind of getting attacked by aircraft. Now I have to admit here something. I just drove like a donkey. On other news, I got away with it. I think this tank has not the best stats in terms of kind of horsepower to ton ratio amongst all the tanks. There are lots of medium tanks that have better horsepower to ton ratio in this respect. It also has, I don't know, not the very best gun. On the other hand, what is there that you can't kill with one shot if you aim, you know, normally? Yes, as you could see in the beginning, there was this Jumbo Sherman. It's just a bomb, you know, it doesn't matter. There was this Jumbo Sherman and I shot the side of the turret. That was kind of my normal reaction, but the Jumbo is one of the few tanks that has such a good turret armor that you will find just again at battle rating 7.0 on the T32. Even the T29 doesn't have that much side armor on the turret, that is. I should have gone for the engine shot at first, but you know, it was just this kind of reflex that I have. With this tank I'm not really thinking too much about where to aim. I just shoot, which is a mistake, because sometimes I need unnecessary amounts of ammunition, like 2 shots. Did I just say that? Yeah. Yeah, I'm currently a little bit blazing away ammunition towards aircraft. Sadly, I never managed to shot down something. I see that an M36 killed a T-34-85. So let's go after him. He just has a 90mm. Yeah, one downside of this tank is the poor gun elevation speed, which is not the greatest. So maybe I could have hit this aircraft with the 85mm. So I'm going here up the slope and I'm having a look. Actually, at this point I was looking for a Hellcat, but it doesn't matter. I'm angled, looking around on the other ridge. Is there something? Looking behind me, there's the aircraft, and of course he goes for me again. Another rocket hit, just the transmission and the tracks. And this guy, he hesitates to shoot. I blind fire. Thank you very much. Then I get shot from the side by a Hellcat. That was my 6th kill, just like that. He bounces again because balanced armor. And you know, it's a rare event vehicle that was available like half a year ago. He has no idea where to shoot me, you know. Everything that he knows about armor is not, you know, not certain to apply to this tank. So where is the weak spot on this tank, to make it short? Well, it's, funnily enough, the area around the gun, which is just 90mm thick. So just shoot the gun. Either you hit the gun and disable it, or you miss the gun a little bit and penetrate the turret front. And a nice ambush you have there. A shame if I would ignore it. Yeah, just like that. That was my 7th kill. Yeah, in this respect, 2 capture circles and 7 kills. Just like that. At this point, nothing happened anymore, so I cut out like 5 minutes of just driving around, waiting for the enemy planes to crash. Crashing aircraft? What are you talking about? You're fighting Americans. They never crash. They never... Oh my. Americans never change. Even in ground forces. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to, you know, beat you guys up with that, but you're making it so easy. Just don't crash. Yeah, and there we have it. 3 capture circles, 7 kills, Survivor, Heavy Metal Fury, and all the medals. So, let's have a quick look at the post-battle results. So, again, 7 kills, 1 assist. What happened there? 7 critical hits and many things more, giving me 95,000 silver lines and 8,180 research points. And you can see I did not play this tank too much, so yeah. But I think it's a fine tank. It's a really great tank. It's probably too strong. 3,362 score points, securing me the first place without any death. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video and the commentary. And give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we will see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.